What is going on, everybody? It is episode 559 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We're coming at you with some chaotic energy this Thursday. It's kind of liminal Thursday, because you're like right on the precipice of the end of the week. Ready? You're anticipating the movie that you're about to see tonight.
Yeah, so I went and watched Dune Part 1 last night. I hadn't seen it in over a year. I liked it. I liked it more than I liked it the first time that I saw it. So technically I've seen it
so
twice.
long, though.
2 hours
so
and 35
long.
minutes is a long run, you know, but here's the thing. Like, Dune 2 is 2 hours and 45 minutes, but supposedly all action.
Damn.
But if Denis Villeneuve can make like 2 hours and 35 minutes of not all action good, then I'm pretty sure he can make 2 hours and 45 minutes of heavy action really, really good. So, yeah. And Phil is with us today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary.
You also sent me the trailer for Horizon.
Yeah, it looks good.
I didn't realize that. So I'd seen the trailer, but I did not realize. Like a lot of times, like I'll exit out before they get to that last title screen. I didn't realize that it's like a two-part event where it's going to be like a part 1 and then part 2 is a couple months later.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's Kevin Costner, and I don't feel like Kevin Costner hates America or me.
There's a really funny shirt of him saying, "I'm a Nikki Haley guy." The shirt that says, "I'm a Nikki Haley guy."
Yeah, I mean.
He made Field of Dreams.
I didn't say that I agree with him on politics. I said I just don't
Haley
feel
a
like
broad
he
girl?
hates me.
I agree with you. And
Or America.
He's
Or the project that he's working on. Like, he's not Ryan Johnson, you know?
Yeah.
And he hate Star Wars and I want to ruin it.
He's directing and starring, which is not easy to do.
Good.
So yeah, let's we'll see. We really are in like a Western Renaissance right now, which is interesting.
What?
Like a Western film and TV Renaissance, hence Yellowstone,
Really?
1883, 1923.
Oh, I thought you meant Western as in like the Western civilization as a whole. And
No,
I was
Western
like,
as a
by
genre.
what metric? No, but yeah.
Western as a genre.
Western as a genre. Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll wait and see on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we got a bunch of stuff to get into, but before we do, would you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel, please, if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Share this video with your friends so that more people can come in here, hang out, watch this show, and then share the videos with their friends. That is the best way for this show to grow. So thank you very much for that.
And also buy the Australian CCP merch if you haven't already. To get the EKG logo upside down on a hoodie. It's obviously superior to the original. So
Or it should say R-Nar on it.
just wanted to promote that again.
I had it pulled up. And
R-Nar.
also remember, guys, all super
Let's
chats.
gar?
20, yeah.
Let's go.
Can somebody? Do we have any Australian fans? I'm sure we have at least one fan.
There's got to be at least one person out there. Let us know in the chat.
Can you let us know how to type R-Nar or Let's Gar on a hoodie, and we'll put that on a cup as well.
Or any New Zealanders. I don't know if they say
It's
Arnar.
V-U-R-T. That's how you, like, vote is V-U of art. Like, so.
It's like that really famous New Zealand deck staining ad where it sounds like he's saying dick. Yeah, he's like, and the whole thing is about how they love my dick. But he's saying deck.
Yeah.
It's great. Remember, all super chats $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those super chats right then and there, and then we will get back on topic as quickly as possible. It'll be very. We'll expedite that process. So if you guys are ready, we will get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Phil?
Let's go.
I was going to shout out the hoodie, but Mary went and got ahead of me on that one. So
I was worried you wouldn't, so I had to.
We're good. So we're going to do that. What is not good right now is this first look image for the reboot of The Crow. Phil, did you see the original?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Thoughts?
I mean, I didn't see it. I saw it years and years and years ago, and I didn't like rewatch it. It didn't change me. I was not a goth kid, so like. Yeah.
But
so this is the director that had an affair with Kristen Stewart, right?
Is that because he was in
Same
Snow White
guy.
and Huntsman? Okay, Rupert Sanders. So he's done having an affair.
Got it. And he got busy somewhere else.
Yes.
They switched the release date with Ballerina.
Yes.
I would think people are way more interested in a John Wick spin-off movie than the Crow reboot.
I mean, I don't know who this is really for. Like, I get the understanding, that the argument of the power of intellectual property, but they made several sequels.
It's for emos that are approaching 40.
I guess they've got
no.
disposable income, right? They've got regular.
Yeah,
they've
that's
got regular
exactly
jobs.
How do you
this is
think
for.
they can
This is-
afford to go on the emo cruise?
This is for emos that are approaching 40, because if they were born like in like 85,
Yeah.
they saw The Crow when they were like 10, 15 or so, and that's when they were really impressionable. Now they're approaching 40 or whatever, 45 or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's the market.
Yeah.
They were the ones that got impacted. They were the ones that were the goth kids in the late 90s and early aughts and stuff, and so
But
it's
you
just
think
rebooting.
that then they would do a live action Nightmare Before Christmas or Corpse Bride, right?
What was that? Would they do it first?
That would be definitely targeting that market.
coming.
More than a Crow reboot.
We got time.
The,
We do have time. They can ruin everything.
Yeah.
They won't stop.
They're
think
going to
more
It's
keep
just a
doing it.
never-ending buffet
Yeah,
of
we got
things to
time.
ruin.
We're good.
The hair is the worst part of this.
What is this haircut?
It's like a mullet fade.
But it's not even a fade. It's just like
No, it's kind of like a
he took a
bad-
shallow bowl and
Yeah, it's not good. And then you look back at the pictures of the original girl. That's what his hair should look like.
what's with the tattoo on his chest where his nipple is the second eye?
Yeah,
Of the face?
and basically what's happening,
Ew.
guys, is people are drawing comparisons to the ill-fated Jared Leto Joker, portrayal from the David Ayer Suicide Squad movie.
He
Which,
got literally 10 minutes of screen time in that movie, and he was all over the trailer.
Yep,
But
yep.
to be fair, like the deleted scenes of Jared Leto's Joker shouldn't have gone in the movie either. So
That's true. I'm amazed that you watched him. That's amazing. That's
the
awesome.
deleted scenes, I was just wondering, like, how did he get cheated out of his role for this after he went into such method acting effort
He
for
sent,
it?
He sent used
All of that
condoms
for
and
10
dead-
minutes of screen time. All of that
birds.
pain and suffering for nothing.
The images don't look all that great.
Gosh,
to
and
me.
then that scene of him and Margot Robbie where he like pushes her off the ledge and they play that awful Kalani song. It's just so cringy.
it's
Like,
just-
how did that stay in the movie, but him electrocuting her wasn't in the movie?
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
The whole point of the first trailer for that movie was a build up to him doing that to her at the end of the Comic-Con trailer for it, and they just ruined it.
That's just what gangsters do.
Sorry,
Like,
so
why?
bad. It's so stupid.
I mean, the whole idea that like this version of the Joker is like a gangster kingpin. You could do something with that.
Yep. Yeah.
But it was just a very bad execution.
I mean, no.
It was an okay idea, right?
You can't do something with that. The Joker is
Okay.
not a gangster kingpin. The Joker is a psychopath.
Well, he was
he's-
supposed to be both, right?
Well,
he was
but the
supposed to be
thing
both
is,
in
the
this.
Joker is chaotic. He's too chaotic to have a king. He is a terrorist he can manage a band of like a handful of dudes, but he can't manage a citywide terror plot. Blah blah blah. Like it can't. He can't do it where it's like he's the guy that's like running the show. Like he can get other people to do things, but he's not like the kingpin that would have like organized crime. He would go out
it
and
was
just
more-
cause havoc.
Kingpin in the sense that he sits in a strip club with a fur coat and a scepter.
Yeah, that I feel like that. I feel like he would burn the strippers
And he
with
drinks
a
Hennessy.
cigar. I feel like he would end up burning the strippers and cutting their faces up like that.
Well, we
he's just too
didn't
chaotic.
get that.
And,
chaotic.
and it's just not going to capture the tone of what the original Crow was, which was very emblematic of the time period in
Yes.
which it came out in. And if there's like, I guess you could put in a bunch of industrial music in here, but it's going to feel out of place.
Do you think they made Robert Pattinson's Batman emo in order to corner that same market?
I didn't even
40-year-old
watch-
emos with
I didn't even
disposable
watch
income.
that. I didn't even watch that. Like after the Nolan Batmans, I'm not interested in seeing anyone else's take. Like it's got to take a long time because I thought the Nolan Batmans were superior. They were great movies. I thought all three of them. I don't care what you say. If you can hate on me all you want, you're just wrong. But
I was watching Superman and Batman Public Enemies over the weekend. It's an animated movie, which would be a really, really good one with Lex Luthor as president, which would have been a really great one to try and adapt and have Metallo as the other villain. They're never going to do that, though. It's really, really sad. But he should have, at the very least, he should have the hair that Brandon Lee had in that movie. Give him the long hair. Make the guy grow out his hair.
Well, mullets are trendy right now, so they had to go with that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whenever they try to bring back a property, it never captures the ambiance of when it was originally created because the trends have changed. That's
He
why
has
I'm
baby
against...
girl energy.
He does.
In this one.
He does kind of. Well, which we'll get into later.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even talk about what we were going to talk about today, but we are
Oops.
we are gonna get into that. But all right, guys. So that should probably put most of you off for checking out this movie. It doesn't feel like it should be released in theaters. It feels like something that would go straight to Hulu.
Yeah.
Doesn't
None
it?
of these decisions make sense these days.
All right. This was interesting. So Mary had some
Huge
good logic.
blowout fight.
You had some good logic behind this. So apparently Kelly Osbourne was very, very dead set on her child, her son, having a hyphenate name.
Yeah, not taking only her name, Osborne, but a hyphenate name with her boyfriend.
Oh my God, her and her mother look exactly alike
They
now.
do.
Let me play devil's advocate here because obviously hyphenate names, I said it before, they're cringe. However, this guy hasn't married her, at least not to my knowledge, so why should your kid have your last name if you haven't even given your baby mama your last name?
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't make sense. And then also carrying such a monumentally prestigious name, Osborne, like passing that on to the next generation. That, if I were her, that would be a big deal to me. Not for any feminist reason, but to continue my dad's legacy, right?
Yeah.
So I was just playing devil's advocate here. I don't know what her reasons were.
The argument about like if she didn't have like a brother.
Yeah,
that
she
made
has a
sense to me,
brother. She has
but-
one full brother and then 2 half brothers, I believe. So they're responsible for passing on the last name. She
Yeah.
doesn't have anything to worry about. She should be more worried about her baby daddy marrying her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look like the marrying type to me, but maybe I'm
No.
just being judgmental.
Well, neither does she. So you would think, having a kid bonds you to someone for life in a way that's comparable to marriage anyway, so why not go through with it?
I
But-
just watched, there's been a lot of arguing on Twitter lately, as usual, and I saw this article get posted, and it said, like, sexual intercourse bonds people in a way that can't be faked. Basically saying, like, it bonds you in a way that's closer than if you're not having sex, and then people are basically arguing, saying that's not true, because they're coping about whether they're having, like, a lot of partners, and they're saying, I have sex with a ton of people, and I don't grow close to them, basically admitting that they're kind of destroyed their ability to pair
I'm an
bond.
exception to all of evolutionary biology.
Saying basically
Me,
that
I'm
they-
special.
Those are my favorite people, and people do it all the time. Whatever the reason, people love to tell you why they alone can't do this, or I can't run, or I can burn all the calories that I want, right? But I eat nothing, but I still gain weight.
Yeah.
I'm yeah, okay.
By the way, what are you drinking? This is Jocko
This?
Molk,
It's the Jocko Milk protein shake stuff.
but it's not milk, it's molk.
That's what it says. Yeah, MOLK.
Got it.
I don't.
Okay, that caught my eye.
It's like when people, I like watching the two groups of people that argue. One argues about anecdotal evidence, the other argues about statistics, and I think both are kind of useless nowadays. Anecdotal evidence is how we interpret the world, which makes the most sense to me, but statistics are so easy to fake nowadays anyways, and the numbers are cooked half the time. When you look at these studies,
Yeah.
like, what does it really matter?
Yeah.
So it's
I
all
would say
stupid.
gut instinct takes
Yeah.
priority at this point. Yeah.
But people are like, they're trying to train people out of their ability to think with their gut.
Okay, hold on. First of all, that's the way people think almost all the time.
Gut
Anyone that John Haidt has this book called The Righteous Mind, and one of the things that he describes is is everybody's basically like an elephant and a rider. Your elephant is your is basically your limbic system, and then your rider is your cerebral cortex, and your rider explains. Basically, your rider is PR for your limbic system.
Okay.
99% of your life, you're going through life reacting via your limbic system, gut reactions, and then explaining it using the rider, and the rider just comes up with a story that we tell ourselves.
And most of the problem, I think, with a lot of it is like one of the reasons people like don't like to argue about these types of things is like you can feel something really, really strongly, but not be able to put it into words.
Sure, yeah.
And that can kind of put you off from having to explain it to other people because it's very hard to explain a gut instinct.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's very easy to somebody to just point to you and say, that's why I hate the term unconscious bias so much. It's like they'll just say like, oh, it's your own bias showing. Like, no, gut reaction to something is different. But all of these things are very, very stupid.
Yeah.
Especially when you're arguing with people on the internet. All right, so yes, but she did give in and kept his last name.
Right.
So.
Which is weird.
With her man Sid and her son Sydney.
Man.
Sid.
Another weird parenting story as well. Bradley Cooper says that he didn't feel connected to his daughter Leah at first when she was born, and it took him 8 months to, quote, really love her.
Bradley, that was a stupid thing to say out loud.
To say out loud to the press.
Yeah,
like,
that was a dumb thing to say out loud.
She's going to see that later on in life.
We have weird thoughts. We can't control where our thoughts come from. Weird thoughts will pop into our head all the time. Don't freaking say them, stupid.
I mean, I think that a lot of men have had this experience becoming fathers, and I've heard this before that, you know, a mother and her child just have such a special, close bond, having been, you know, at one person basically for so long. A father kind of feels alienated from it when a baby is first born. That is understandable, and I've heard that before. But the rest of what he said in this interview is really the weird part. He said in the first few months of his daughter's life, he didn't understand when fellow parents would say, quote, I would die in a second for my kid. He doesn't understand why your kid's life would take a priority over yours in a life or death situation. He said, the first 8 months, I don't know if I even really love the kid. It's cool, it's dope. I'm watching this thing morph. That's my experience. Fascinated by it. Love taking care of it. Why are you calling your daughter an it? But would I die if someone came in with a gun? And he wasn't sure. He wasn't sure if he would. And he admitted that after a couple of months into her life, he still wasn't sure. Then all of a sudden, it's like, no question.
Again, you didn't need to share this story with anyone.
No one needed to know this, least of all his daughter,
lie.
who is going to read this, no doubt, later in life.
For the sake of your daughter, just lie. Be like, yeah, from the moment she was born.
Look, this is a little sexist, but that's the most like womanly kind of behavior. Women are frequently the ones that say crazy things because they want to feel validated. They're like, well, I did this, but they need to express stuff and emote, and they want people to understand. Sure. Not that dudes don't clearly, but you know, shut up.
Bradley Cooper was posting his L's here for sure. I mean, he changed his tune though. He said, "I'm not sure I'd be alive if I wasn't a dad." He said that having a kid was a massive anchor for his life, and it dictates everything he does from now on. Quote, your DNA is going to tell you that there's something more important than you. It's not your DNA, though. It's literally just true that your child is more important than you because they're carrying on your legacy. But yeah, very weird to say that out loud to millions of people.
Dustin says, was he drunk? No, he was on a podcast. He was on a podcast when he did the Armchair Expert podcast.
He's like, can dads have postpartum depression?
Though I did watch a funny YouTube short today where Jeff Dye talks about how he used to go to all morning talk shows drunk.
Bruh. At like 4 a.m. Yeah. Those things film starting at like 3 a.m. He just goes straight from the club to the radio station.
The guy asked him what was like your absolute worst story? He tells this story where this interview was going really, really bad, and this lady's she brought up his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or something. He gave them a list of I'd rather this not get brought up, but it was going so bad, the lady's just like, fuck it, and brought it up anyway. And then somehow they got on the topic of chocolate, and the lady's like, I'm allergic to chocolate. He goes, yeah, if I was allergic to chocolate, I'd probably just kill myself.
Okay, me.
I could. And I'm just picturing, imagine the studio lights just hot as fuck.
Well, no, it's a radio show, so they don't have that.
I mean,
these were TV appearances.
Oh.
These were TV appearances.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you go into studios, they would be still filming, so they'd have lights on you and stuff. Yeah, thankfully I've never blown it that bad. But I've been pretty drunk in some interviews and said some stuff that got around. I was.
Tell us more.
We're doing a podcast. Jamie Josta's. I'm doing his podcast, and there was this person that I had some beef with in the music business, and I called him the F word. And he did not hear what I said in the podcast before he starts telling everybody at the office, did you hear that Phil mentioned me in Jamie's podcast? So
Like it was a good thing.
yeah, like, so he starts going and telling people, blah, 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 Phil mentioned me in Jamie's podcast. Phil mentioned me in Jamie's podcast. And he goes and listens,
so
and
excited.
it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He's a blah, blah, blah.
Like he plays it and he's so excited to hear you say something nice about him.
Other
and he's
people
like,
were listening, like, do you know what he said about you? And he's like, no, I'm not saying his name, but they're like, did you know what he said about you? And he's like, no, I.
What year was this? Was it acceptable to say that word back then?
Oh no, 2014,
Okay,
15?
that was like on the edge.
Right on the edge,
Yeah.
right on the edge, right on the
You were
cusp.
running
where-
out of time. You
Yeah,
gotta get as
right.
many of them
I mean,
in
I
there as
caught
possible.
hell for it. I caught hell for it, but it wasn't as bad as like subsequent times when I said that word where people were like apoplectic about it, as if
Was it true?
No, well,
Or
he
you
was,
were just
he was
drunk?
behaving in a way that we would associate with that term, but he is not.
It was
movie-
F word like.
Yeah,
behavior.
In a movie, it would be a hilarious scene where he finally listens to it and you see his face. He's listening to it, smiling, and he goes. His face goes
It was
cold.
hilarious. Like my manager still tells that story to people. It was the funniest thing ever. Oh God, so and we're cool now. Like we talked about it afterwards, and we're cool.
You're like, hey man, I was a little drunk that day.
See, this is how men squash beef.
Yeah,
I was a little sauced.
But he's
I apologize.
well. I mean, I did say I was like I shouldn't have said that. But I was like the reason.
You're like, I stand by it, but I shouldn't have said it.
well, kind of, because the reasons why I was irritated and angry with him were like legitimate. So, but again, I'm not going to get into that. So, anyways.
All right. Well, in the word of as much as I hate the word woke, here's an example of spreading wokeness across the world. Germany's next top model from 2023 and Miss Germany from 2024. Yes, this is these are your modern day beauty standards, ladies and gentlemen.
And also your modern day Germans. I mean, look, if they wanted to make Germany's pageants more diverse, couldn't they pick skinny, hot brown women?
Yeah.
That was an option. But they decided, no, we're going to make sure they're fat and old.
So she's a mom. She's I think I read somewhere that she was 39. I don't know how you can be Miss Germany if you're
She's Miss
married.
She's Miss Germany.
Yeah, so
That's odd.
yeah, so she's Miss Germany, but technically she's Mrs. Germany. because-
Also, they pointed out the second woman, she's from, what is she? She's Persian
she was born in Iran.
or something. Yeah, there are so many beautiful Iranian women that they could have chosen from, but why her?
Because she's a mom. She's an architect, and it says that she's
Her personality.
Yes.
They like
What do you
ugly.
call the ugly princess? Creative.
Well, this is what I hate about the world now. It's like this, and I do believe that this is, for the most part, this is spurred on by women who have that mindset of like, I gotta clap for everybody. Everybody gets a reward. Like,
Yeah.
this should be something where there should be very specific guidelines for what makes you the winner of this contest, not just everyone's great. Therefore, we'll just pick whoever we
Look at this
think.
photo. They made the other contestants turn their backs to the camera as to not show the competition.
The fact that the way they judge it is arbitrary. It used to be where everyone was be like, okay, we will actually judge the people we think are attractive. Nowadays, you're not allowed to decide that someone is more attractive than another person.
Correct.
So the criteria is some kind of intangible that you can't really articulate. So that means that it's just totally subjective. So there's no reason to even have a contest.
I mean,
Exactly. No,
the
it's
reason
not
is
right.
theoretically because, appearance is only on the surface level and beauty is all in the eye of the beholder and it's all below the surface. But they kind of ruined doing these pageants on that pretense when they decided to admit ugly or overweight women, because when everyone in a pageant was somewhat equal in physical attractiveness, then you have the space to look at their personalities. That's what allows you to pick a winner based on personality, right?
They're all obviously beautiful. So
Right.
because
Which
of
was
that,
the one
you're
with the
actually
great personality
Right.
even
you're
more
actually
stand out.
you're taking the beauty out of the contest
Right.
intentionally.
Yeah.
By making them all beautiful, you're actually taking
both the outer
the way
and
they
inner
look.
beauty have been taken out of pageants.
Yeah.
Basically.
It says on stage, she said she wants to advocate for young women like herself who are dealing with the difficulties of being migrants in Germany.
Young women?
Yeah, that's the word they used.
How old is this woman?
I thought I read somewhere else that she's 39, but I could be wrong about that. I could be misremembering that. I thought that's what it said, but I could be wrong about that.
Definitely needs to get on top of that skincare routine if she is younger than 39, because I did not think that she was 39 when I looked at that picture.
Yeah, so it's just another
Not knocking on her for taking the opportunity. They gave it to you.
Yes.
They gave you the title. I would too, but
Phil explained it perfectly why these types of things always make me laugh, because it's just like none of it matters anymore. It's the same reason why when you go look under the comments of a Lizzo picture and everyone calls you beautiful,
Slay
why does it
queen!
matter then if you get mad when somebody calls you as beautiful as Lizzo? Because inherently you know that it's not the compliment they're pretending it to be.
It's a lie that we all have to do, or that we all have to participate in. And if you step outside of the lie, it's literally, look, there's a guy that explains it like this, James Lindsay. He explains it like this. It's literally like you're in a wizard's circle. Like that's the way that it behaves. Like as long as you're inside and you're talking like all that stuff makes sense, then everybody that's around you is like mesmerized. But as soon as you step outside and say, hey, all that stuff's horse shit, Lizzo's not pretty, she's fat, and that's bad, everyone's like, it's like they wake up from like being mesmerized. And some people freak out and get upset about it, and that's that's why it's so frequently described as the Matrix, right? Like when you're sitting there and everyone's like, oh yeah, Lizzo's pretty, and then someone's like, Lizzo's not pretty, it's like smack. You're like, holy cow, wait a minute, everything that wait, what do you mean? And people get mad because it's like literally shaking reality around.
It also goes to what we were talking earlier about gut instincts. Like, it's true, and then somebody's like, can you explain why she's not pretty? Sure, but you don't need to do that. You just know it's true.
right.
Right? So, all right, what is Olivia Rodrigo doing?
Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo is kicking off her new world tour for the Guts album. From what I've seen, the theme of this tour is just puking. That's the aesthetic she chose. And also, she used this as an opportunity to promote a cause that is very important to her: abortion. Yeah. So it turns out that a certain percentage from all of her ticket proceeds are going to be donated to the National Network of Abortion Funds. It's an initiative for reproductive health that she has called the Fund for Good, as in the number 4, referencing her song Good For You. In case any of you have a little cousin or a little sister or a daughter who wants to go to the Olivia Rodrigo tour,
This is insane.
make sure they don't go because you are in fact directly funding abortion by doing so. It's not even like a stretch. It's not even just a public statement she made. This is actually where your money is going.
Yep.
We've got a super chat, a $20 chat from Corey Anderson. Mary, of course you would take it. You are attractive and feisty. It would be understandable. She is Pat. No. Thanks, I guess. But I remember that back when Roe v. Wade got overturned, Olivia Rodrigo came out as one of the celebrities making public statements about it. And she performed F You with Lily Allen on stage in response to evil Brett Kavanaugh and the conservative judges. And that's one thing, right? Like just making statements in social media posts and making your stance on something clear. That's different than you forcing all of your fans to directly support child sacrifice in order to see you perform your songs.
It's just
right?
they've watered down this this subject matter so much that none of them see it that way. None of them see it as any form of life whatsoever. They're going to give you the same arguments they always give everybody else, that there's no consciousness at this level, that it's nothing but an embryo, blah blah. You know what I'm saying, right? They make these arguments, and whatever, that's fine. Make your arguments. I've watched people have very lengthy discussions back and forth about abortion.
They have to dip into. They want to talk about it like it's science, but they have to dip into metaphysics.
Yes,
because when you're talking about life, like what life is, what consciousness is, those are all metaphysical things. And like the clear answers that biology provides are totally rejected by the left, and they have to go to metaphysics, which is hilarious because the left talks about we're the party of science and we're the blah. You have to trust the science. Science is very clear on the biology of when life starts, when something is alive and when something is not. But what is not clear, what takes metaphysics, what is never capable of being argued by science is when is something a conscious living being, when is something sentient, when is a person a person. Those are questions that science could never answer, and the left is relying on those arguments to justify abortion while they tell you that it's the science, that this is that they're on the side of science, and that it should be doctors that are making these decisions, and we're on the medical side of blah blah blah, totally disregarding the fact that their entire argument is based on metaphysics.
And it's become so common now for celebrities to take these causes under their wing because activism is so common now amongst celebrities that it doesn't shock me anymore. But like they don't even have to necessarily use the phrase pro-choice, right? Which is what they always, both sides have their ability to. But there are celebrities now who are just saying pro-abortion, which is very, very different.
Yeah,
than pro-choice.
The discourse around it has definitely shifted. And I know that Olivia Rodrigo expected to get a wave of adulation and praise for doing this. Here's a comment that is absolutely unhinged under this post. My ex-husband, Brad, of course his name is Brad, bought our 16-year-old tickets to Olivia Rodrigo's show for next week. Spent like $1,000 on them, and he's a Trump-loving Republican. And I love that he's now contributed to abortion funds. Thanks, Brad. 4,000 likes on that comment.
What's funny
by the way.
about that is like what they don't realize is that it's thanks to Trump that the right has more people that are willing to are willing to give leeway on abortion.
Oh yeah.
Like they're actually that's not the win they think it is. Like now, if you had said like he's a Romney, or, you know, he's
Donald
Trump isn't
a Republican.
No.
He's not staunchly. He's a Republican, but he's not staunchly pro-life.
Trump is. I was just listening to Ben Shapiro talking about this today, and he's totally right. Trump is the moderate in this particular in our election coming up. The positions that Joe Biden has are all minority positions, open like the border stuff that he had up until became a problem. All that stuff was minority positions. Like 30% of the population support that, and it goes down the list. Like the abortion until you know the very end of the third trimester. That's like a vanishingly small number of people or percentage of the population support that, and Biden is he's like that's what it should be. You know, it's like he is extremely far left, and Donald Trump's positions are in no way extremely right. Like they're not far right at all. I want a small government. I want a vanishingly small government. Donald Trump wants 10 times the government that I do. You know, so
another comment on this said, I love this and I wish more pop stars did things like this. She's supporting what she believes in with her whole chest. Now, imagine though, if she were using ticket proceeds to fund pro-life organizations, and just imagine the utter chaos that would ensue. Imagine the boycotts and the outrage that would be sent her way.
They suck at boycotting.
If she even donated to a pro-life organization like Let Them Live, for instance, which is not even dedicated to propaganda. Literally, they just funnel money to mothers who are in unplanned pregnancies, who are in need of resources. That's all they do. Or if ticket proceeds donated to an organization that that provides free ultrasounds to pregnant mothers, right? That would still be completely like throwing away your career for Olivia Rodrigo. If she funded something like that to actually help mothers who are dealing with unplanned pregnancies, that would literally trash her entire reputation and career forever. Can you imagine the response that you would get? So it's not about standing up for what you believe in. You can stand up for what you believe in only if it's what we agree with. right?
Well, that's the most annoying part about anything that they call like brave on their side now, is if they still have this cognitive dissonance where they think they're fighting some large conservative establishment with their art, and they're not. They are the establishment, but they just haven't gotten their NPC update to tell them how to rewrite the articles.
They're just so unabashedly evil and anti-mother, really. And I remember back when I was volunteering for a pro-life pregnancy clinic, and, you know, discourse started up about the possibility of Roe v. Wade getting overturned. What people decided to do is make fake appointments at the pregnancy clinic to take spots away from mothers in need of free health care.
Yep.
They hate mothers. That's the truth. It's not about choice. It's not about respecting women's autonomy. They are the ones who are actively trying to take women's autonomy away. So, yeah, this is just obviously disheartening to see, but totally expected, totally predictable.
Well, as depressing as that was, Mary, we have something very fun to talk about now. If you guys don't know what the hell is going on with the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow, it's this has become an even bigger story, has it not?
Yeah, so they actually found the female Oompa Loompa actress who was at the Willy's Chocolate Experience in Glasgow, and they interviewed her. This says, Glasgow's sad Oompa Loompa isn't gonna sugarcoat this. Her name is Kirsty Patterson, and she is so wholesome, and like she's just like, I've never been on social media before. I don't know what it's like to be a meme. Please don't be mean to me. She said, I'm 29. I act in children's entertainment because I enjoy it. I've got a lot of energy. I like being around kids. It's a side hustle. I'm also a fire dancer, and I'm trying to build up my yoga teaching at the moment.
This is her.
She looks unrecognizable.
She does.
Clearly.
Let's also, we've got these pictures of her that save.
See, she's smiling in some of these.
I saw one say she's the Princess Diana that we deserve. And
they said she's the Mother Teresa of 2024.
Good Lord.
Look at her. She's single-handedly saving the Willy's Chocolate Experience.
She is. Justice for Kirsty Patterson. The Queen did right by those kids, but it's not just that, guys. The people who founded this event, the creator says, I'm really shocked that the event had fallen short of the expectations of people on paper. My vision of the artistic rendition of a well-known book didn't come to fruition. For that, I am absolutely, truly, and utterly sorry.
Well, as long as he's truly and utterly sorry,
and
that fixes things.
If you don't know who Karen Gillan is a big actress. She's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She wants in when they make the movie about this. She says, please cast me in this. Like a movie based on this story, not the actual thing. Actually, no. Either is fine. This is a video, an extended look at
the unknown.
Also, there's a petition going on right now. There's a change.org petition that says reopen the beloved Glasgow Willy Wonka experience, which has now got over 2,000 signatures, I saw. Yes.
So now this organizer, House of Illuminati, in order to fix this, they just need to keep putting on really, really disappointing and cheap productions.
No, that's
and people are going to go for the memes.
This will make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they don't have to change a thing. They have to leave it exactly how it is.
Well, they were doing the 4D chess move because they knew this was happening.
Here's an extended look at what happened.
At the unknown.
Full of scary face. Oh my God. Scare the great unknown. Wonderful. I love
They look perfectly happy.
You know, maybe kids are just easier to entertain than we thought.
I'm not joking.
They are.
Yeah.
I paid £40 a ticket for this.
Like,
Smallest bouncy castle in the world. And
people that say like kids are hard to entertain, they just don't want to actually like spend time with the kids. Kids will love like spend time with you and hang out, and like playing with kids is easy.
Yep.
Like they just want you to hang out with them. So like.
So a warehouse with one jelly bean per kid, that's
fine.
enough.
Also, guys, if you'd like to see The Simpsons, once again predicted this long before it ever happened.
How is this possible?
Yep. Long before.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. The Oompa Loompa, Jesus.
It's not just that. So there was these pictures of her again. She looks like a saint. Here's another one. It's easy to laugh. It's easy to hate. It takes strength to be gentle and kind.
Yes. She also said they told us to abandon the script, which was AI generated.
Yes.
They had a jelly bean room, but they eventually ran out of jelly beans, and I was rationing jelly beans to 3 per kid, and that was me being generous.
She was doing her best here. The Unknown will be making a video soon about her involvement in the Willy Wonka experience.
The Unknown was a woman?
was a woman.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
Yep. And then it says, "Why is the Unknown so shy?"
That's why the Unknown lives in the walls.
And the art has started to come out for this as well. It has already shown up on Sims. They've already recreated this in Sims.
I wouldn't be surprised if they planned the whole thing on Sims.
Here is a child who dressed up for the event and could have very much been an Oompa Loompa themselves.
This child outdid their own costuming.
Oh, yes.
They didn't even paint the Oompa Loompas orange.
What the saddest thing is that this had to happen so early in the year because now people are going to forget about it by the time Halloween comes around.
Right.
But there will be a lot of people, if they're
Right.
smart, will bookmark this so that they can be the unknown for Halloween.
Well, people are just going to think that if you try to dress up as the sad Oompa Loompa, they're just going to think you did a really poor
Yeah, you should
job
be
of
like,
dressing up as an Oompa Loompa.
And then you're going to end up being like, no, remember the chick from Scotland?
And they're like,
Back
what?
in March.
there's the Sims
It
version
was
of
Leap
her.
Day.
She's looking quirked up.
Yep, she is.
Love that for her.
And then, of course, the event was canceled. It's very,
But
very
even the
sad.
sign was half-assed. It was below half-assed.
Yes. It
It
was,
just
it was an amazing...
like they didn't even write it in Sharpie.
These are the type of things that kind of make, like, on the average day, I can be like, wow, I really hate the internet. These are the days where I love the internet, when this stuff comes out. Basically, they're talking about how more stuff keeps, like, literally my timeline last night was just nothing but stuff about Wonka.
I think the Wonka actors need to unionize
They should.
after this. They didn't deserve what happened to them. Really.
Disavow.
What would you like to see, cute or cringe of the day?
You decide, Phil.
Go with the cringe. Get out of the way.
Okay, let's do the 2 cringes first. One is a...
Oh.
Okay, this one first. Software engineer wore Apple Vision Pro to his wedding.
Yeah.
Why was it necessary to mention that he's a software engineer? Like, what does that
Well,
have
like,
to do with
explains
it?
away-
Like, that makes it okay?
Yeah, it's
No,
like
it doesn't make it
explaining
okay.
And she's clearly getting the ick at her own wedding, which is
that is literally
very
the
sad.
face of someone getting the ick.
You're not really starting the marriage off on a great note.
So dumb.
So, Phil, you think that his excuse was, like,
Yes.
recording it?
I think that he was probably like, I want to record this so that way I have forever and I can show everybody, blah, 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 blah. And too bad. That was a dumb idea.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to watch this. So,
Brace yourselves.
She had to
everyone.
understand that it was possible, though. I mean, not to, I know this is a different thing, but like, she had to understand she's marrying the guy. She had to know, like, he might do something weird.
Remember the
like,
one-
if that's the kind of stuff that you would see on Third Rock or on whatever is
30
it
Rock?
30 Rock?
Is it 30 Rock or whatever? The one is Sheldon?
Young Sheldon?
No.
No.
The Sheldon, the show that
Big
Young
Bang
Sheldon,
Theory.
There, Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's the kind of thing you see on that show. God.
Yeah. Remember the one we covered in Cringe of the Day one time of the guy who just gave, like, the really, really awful, like, speech to his wife at the altar?
He was like, I'm going to tap that every day.
And the priest was like, do you want to, like, add more?
Have
Like,
anything else to
you have anything else to
say?
say? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Cannot believe that.
All right, let's watch this video and you can let us know what you think about this.
I am so pissy today. Just downright motherfuckers today.
I still think...
I had to come up here.
Mary,
I had
do
to
you think
come
this
up
is
here
real?
at fucking 11 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
That's prime time. That's prime time.
This is an OnlyFans mom, allegedly.
If you know what I mean. But listen, so that's partly why I'm cranky, but I'm cranky because my child is 10. I had to come up to the school and I had to pick him up. Why? Why did I have to fucking pick this kid up? I had to pick this kid up because he's a man, okay? He's a little man and he's got a weak ass stomach like fucking most men do. So somebody busted ass in the library. He threw up not one time, not 2 times, but 3 times in the library. Literally the nurse calls and she's like, you're gonna have to come pick up your son because he just vomited 3 times in the library, like exorcist style, all over the place. Why? He's not even sick. Some kid farted next to him and he said that it made his stomach feel bad. So I have to interrupt my day because some kid's got a rank asshole? That's a new kind of skid block. like, does he have to pick her up? Like, can it be like an hour? Can we like work something out? And he was like, he needs to be picked up immediately because he threw up. He threw up because he has a weak stomach. What about the kid who busted ass so fucking bad that he cleared out an entire goddamn library? That seems like a problem. He seems like he should get some medical attention. Not my kid. Not my kid who's just got a weak stomach. Damn. It's not, I'm gonna Kool-Aid man through the side of a wall today. That's what I'm gonna do. Yep, I'm gonna do because I'm pent up and I got a lot of aggression.
I think it's fake.
What?
I think it's
Okay,
fake.
so allegedly this woman has an OnlyFans, and she was mad she had to pick her kid up because she was planning to film stuff for her OnlyFans during that time. Now, the reason I think it's real rather than staged is because she didn't explicitly say what she was planning to do. She made vague gestures toward it, right? If she actually had an OnlyFans, you know, that's how she would act about it. If she were faking it, she would say, I had to pick my kid up and I was planning to film for my OnlyFans. She would have said it explicitly if it were fake.
I think it's fake. First of all, she looks too young to have a 10-year-old, but I could.
You need only look up her TikTok account and go to her Linktree to find out.
11 a.m. in the afternoon was my favorite part of that.
Because she's dumb.
It feels too fake to be real to me.
She thinks 11 a.m. is in the afternoon because she's dumb.
Remember that part about your gut instinct? My gut instinct says with all the facial expressions and shit that it's fake. It does.
We'll see.
But I could be wrong. But either way, real or fake, it's still cringe. It's just one of is a more depressing and evil form of cringe if it's real.
Honestly, what's the difference? If she has a kid, is it still embarrassing that your mom is pretending to have an OnlyFans online?
Phil, did you watch the video of the girls dancing, of all the girls dancing in the gas station?
Yeah,
you did?
the white girl haka.
Somebody in the chat asked to ask you about that one. What did you think about that?
I mean, look, at least they're
internet.
moving. At least they're moving.
They're at least getting some exercise.
Yeah, I like it. That was literally the first. I tweeted that when I saw it. I was like, a lot of people are dunking on this, but at least they're moving around. I don't care. Like the idea that you know this dance is somehow it's just line dancing. This is the same thing that young girls have been doing for literally ever. It's the Macarena. It's whatever. Like it's just the same thing. You don't need to hate on everything just because it's like young women doing it. Just chill out. Stop.
The other thing is like there was so many Stanleys there. The unleaded gas would have become leaded by the time it was done. There was how many Stanleys were in the thing. Are those things heavy? Are the cups actually like heavy?
I mean, somewhat.
I was picturing like a skit where one of them gets knocked out from all the dancing around, like the cup.
If I hit someone in the head with this, it would definitely
hurt.
do a number on that. Yeah.
All right. All right. So now that we've done that, we've got some cue to the day as well, which is always a good thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Close group. And this is adorable. This is from Robert. It says, Indy and his brother Odie at the park.
Good.
Oh.
It's a good looking dog.
Look at those blue eyes.
Yep.
There's a $20 super chat there, guys.
Mikey said, sadly, I don't believe this is fake. I've dated many women who act like this, hence why I left.
Well, let's then maybe it's my more hopeful side is that it's fake and it's
Someone
fake
told her
because-
she was funny one time and
Yeah.
she just ran with it.
Yep. All right. So let's do one more here. This one is from Cucked. It says, give me my tortilla already.
Look at this one. Stanced up.
That guy.
It's adorable.
He's stanced up like that. Yeah.
All
I
right.
like it.
Mary, why don't you tell us what the hell is going on with Kate Middleton?
Yeah. Kate Middleton is mysteriously missing from the public eye, and she has been for months. And of course, this has sparked some wild conspiracy theories on the internet, and everyone wants to know where she is or what have they done with her. Is she even alive? So the last time that she was seen publicly was on Christmas Day last year. And then she went in for what they've only called abdominal surgery on January 16th. Since Christmas Day, no one has seen her. There are no paparazzi photos of her, not even so much as a selfie, not a statement directly from her, only from the palace. Last month, they said the Princess of Wales has returned home to Windsor to continue her recovery from surgery. She's making good progress. The Prince and Princess wish to say a huge thank you to the entire team at the London Clinic, especially dedicated nursing staff, for the care they've provided. The Wales family continues to be grateful for the well wishes they've received from around the world. And after they released that statement, they assumed they would get the privacy they asked for, the privacy that they asked for, but they did not. And now that this conversation is ramping up and it's getting more and more dramatic, at all of the theories flying around, they felt the need to respond again. And her representative told Page Six on Thursday that Kensington Palace made it clear in January the timelines of the princess's recovery, and we'd only be providing significant updates. That guidance stands.
So I guess colloquially she's a princess? Because we said
they
she's
are
a
calling
duchess.
her a princess.
So
yeah.
she's a duchess, but she's also a princess.
Yeah, I don't know how all the terms work. I'm not
British
one of these
people,
like
am I right?
royal news junkies. I don't know how all of it works.
So I asked
but yeah.
I asked you
They
the
said
audience.
stop asking questions.
I asked you, the audience, a question. I said, what the hell is Kate Middleton up to right now? The choices as they stand are getting a BBL, the Willy Wonka experience,
She was actually one of the Oompa Loompas.
plotting against Meghan Markle, or dead in a ditch somewhere. And right now, plotting against Meghan Markle is winning.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why this situation is getting so much attention right now on social media is because all of the Meghan Markle stands are PO'd that Kate Middleton is afforded this amount of privacy and secrecy around her whereabouts and what she looks like, whereas Meghan Markle has been, you know, she's going on pap walks and she wants all of this attention, but pretends that she wants privacy all the time.
There she is.
They're
at
mad
Willy
that
Wonka.
Kate Middleton gets the privacy that she asks for and Meghan Markle doesn't because racism or something.
But it's been turned into like a meme now too, because they've drawn it in with the Wonka stuff and all the stuff with Meghan Markle. And it's weird how you can even be out of the public eye and still have such a presence. And I think that that does make Meghan Markle just a tad bit upset.
Yeah, like Kate Middleton can get attention without even asking for it or doing anything. And she has to go on Oprah to get it.
Yep.
She's jelly, obviously. But some of the rumors include Prince William beat her up. Like, literally, there are people who think that Prince William just had an outraged, like, violent outburst on Kate Middleton and beat her up so bad that she had to be hospitalized. I'm not saying that's true, but some people think that. Some people think that she might have died while recovering or in the middle of surgery, and that they're trying to cover up her death right now. Some people think that Kate Middleton has run away from the royal palace with her children, and that they're trying to cover up the scandal, and she's trying to escape the royal family's clutches. There's just a whole you know, thing around this. Rumors began to take off after a Spanish TV host claimed that Princess Kate Middleton had been put in a medically induced coma due to surgical complications, citing an anonymous source within the royal household.
What's the longest period of time she'd been without being in the public eye since getting married, right? It's probably been a very, very long time.
Yeah, well, it is literally your job. They don't have an actual job in governance of the UK. What their job is making public appearances, going to events. And since her medical complication or her surgery or whatever, Prince William has been going out to all of these events solo, and that draws even more attention to it. Like, he went to the BAFTAs, for instance, alone. And it naturally makes people ask questions, but then when you leave them in wondering for this long, of course people are going to come up with insane theories about what's going on. Another one is that she had a secret baby, and the reason it's a secret is because it's a ginger. I don't know. That was their theory. Game of hide and seek got out of hand. Self-immolated for Palestine. Locked in the bathroom. Yep. She's becoming non-binary. That's another one. Joined ISIS. Went to the moon. She's growing out her hair after a coloring disaster. Like, imagine if this was all just because she had a mentee bee one day and decided to cut her own bangs, and she's just waiting for her bangs to grow out. Yep. Another one said, "Can the Swifties who spend all their time hunting for Easter eggs that aren't there with the fervor of Jake Gyllenhaal hunting the Zodiac killer do something useful for once and figure out where Kate Middleton is?"
Where do you think all of this fervor for the royals comes from in America? From Americans? I guess I get it from those who live in country, but
I think that there are people that are attracted to that, like the same kind of people that really kind of idolize the Kennedys, or it's the same impulse. You know, in the United States, they look at you know the whole Camelot thing, the Kennedys, and even now, RFK still enjoys a little bit of that.
He does.
You know, not a lot, because obviously he's kind of out of the establishment now. But you know, that's kind of what the American population grabbed onto for a while.
If you want to see coverage like that in politics, look up House and Habit, who does as a very, very great approach to her journalism, which is very much in vogue of like, you know, reporting on these candidates that are not getting a fair shake from the media, but doing so in a way that's very immersive, because she's been invited to all of these events to candidates from both sides. And if you watch her stuff, like on Instagram, I mean, I don't follow her Substack, but if you watch her coverage, it's very much how you imagine people look at the royals, right? That you get an inside look at how these people who are the upper crust elite of our society spend their time.
Yeah, I think maybe Americans have a strange envy for the UK still being under a monarchy. Like, it's just something that sparks our curiosity because it's totally alien to us.
Yep.
And, you know, it is our cultural heritage, if you think about it.
My mom loved Princess Diana.
Yeah, Princess Diana really, like, kicked off American interest in the royal family, I think.
My mom even kind of looked a little bit like
Yeah.
Princess, had the same haircut and everything.
Well, a lot of women also specifically got that haircut because of Princess Diana.
Yeah.
She was also the first pretty young royal since before World War II, because the Queen had been, you know, she got coronated, I think, right before World War II started. So Diana being a royal that people could identify with, that didn't seem like an old lady, like an old queen, was something that a lot of people were like, oh, I can understand this chick. I relate to this chick. She's pretty, she's young, she's active. And then throw in the whole divorce with Charles and stuff, and a lot of women.
The drama.
Yeah, the drama surrounding it. A lot of women, you know, really identified with that and felt.
And now
that.
people are watching Spencer, they're watching The Crown. And it's also sort of the relatability factor is a big deal, because it seemed, at least to the public, like Diana was kind of plucked out of obscurity into an arranged marriage, and she was a total nobody, which isn't exactly true. But
and it certainly
she was a
wasn't an
school
arranged
teacher.
marriage
She was
either.
just ordinary. And yeah.
This was somebody's guess that she's now
with Pete Davidson. He's a menace.
He's
Who
out
can
to-
he not date?
But then after that, so he said he's with the unknown.
So Kate Middleton was actually the unknown.
That's
what you're saying.
some people have that theory. You can see
She's living in the walls
She's right
of the
there.
Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
She's right there. She
Yeah.
even wore purple to the
Yeah.
event there. It's great. But I'm saying this is why the world we live in is so ridiculous, because these two conspiracy theory, like one conspiracy theory and one just weird story of public interest, have now fused together. And this is going together with what everybody's talking about, Rebecca Ferguson doing this interview about being yelled at by some co-star in a movie like however long ago. So people are now like going through her catalog of films trying to figure out who it was that yelled at her. And I'm just like, bro, you got yelled at. Deal with it.
I mean, the same thing is happening right now with people trying to figure out who was the male celebrity P. Diddy hooked up with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it Meek Mill?
How hooked up allegedly is this P. Diddy hookup? I heard a little bit about it, but I didn't hear much about it.
These the claims are pretty.
It's detailed in this lawsuit that was filed against P. Diddy from a former producer of his that also alleged sexual misconduct in his direction. But it doesn't name who the rappers are. It just says Grammy-winning producer or like whoever it was, with like very little detail.
The reason people are bringing up Meek Mill is because he was following like a gay porn account on Twitter, and he got caught. So
Yeah.
All right, let's go to super chats.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Commander Phil. Hey, I actually read the description correctly today. Yay me! I can read. No more picture books.
Nice.
I'm not
Congrats, dude." Greg Duvier said, "Phil, since you are a Swiftie, any plans to cover a Taylor Swift song on the new album?
No.
Like how I Prevail did with Blank Space."
Nope.
If
That
there
cover is good.
If there was one you would cover, which one would it be?
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to really sit down and think about it, because I don't have one like in mind that I'm like, oh, that I could blah blah blah. There are songs that we've talked about, country songs that we've talked about, because the Thunder Rolls did so well. So there are things that we have in mind. It won't be on this release, because I'm doing drums or doing the last 3 songs, vocals next week, doing drums the following week, and then we're done. Shooting a video, shooting photos, then we're done with this record. It's done. And I'm not doing any more new music until at least the fall. So
You sound a little bit mad about it.
doing it has been frustrating because it's taken so long, and people are slow, and running all that remains is like herding cats. So it's not like unhappy with the music or whatever. It's just anytime you're managing people, it's a pain in the...
Yes.
Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, WTF is that? That is not the Crow, looks nothing like the Brandon Lee Crow or the J.O. Barr original graphic novel.
Say it again.
Well, it's not meant to be like the original because they got to put their own modern twist on it.
Yeah, it's not going to look anything like that, unfortunately. So, all right, let's hold off on the rest, and we'll come back after the fact. Poor Tom Brady.
Yeah, it seems like actually masculine men are more rare in Hollywood and entertainment circles than the emasculated ones like Will Smith these days. And it just came out that Tom Brady is learning to accept the fact that his ex-wife, Gisele Bündchen, the Victoria's Secret supermodel, was in reality cheating on him during their marriage with her jiu-jitsu instructor who was younger than her. It's just so, it's really poetic, honestly. It's so typical, right? The jiu-jitsu instructor who's younger
Could have
than
been a
you.
yoga instructor, I suppose, but that'd be for a guy with a female yoga instructor.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, I guess, no, it could have been worse. It could have been the pool boy. If it had been the pool boy, it would be worse.
So it says, report, Tom Brady has quote unquote accepted that his ex-wife Gisele had been cheating on him with a jiu-jitsu trainer, Joaquim Valente, starting years ago.
Yep.
However, the official story from an anonymous source that is likely hired by Gisele is that she only got with this jiu-jitsu instructor 8 months after the divorce with Tom Brady finalized.
This is like Kevin
That's
Costner.
the official story.
Yeah. This is like Kevin
So-
Costner, who gets splits up from his wife, and like she's out like on vacation with like a friend of the family the next week.
Yeah. Look,
Right. A friend.
There is no man that is ever good enough. You have to be like, or you're never going to be good enough by doing or achieving. Like you have to be like at the right, your relationship has to be right because your relationship's right. Never think that like you can like excel enough to make a chick who's got the ick think you're great. Ain't happening.
I'm picturing the Hallmark.
Doesn't matter who you are.
I'm picturing the Hallmark movie with a really sappy scene where she's like leaving him arm in arm with the jiu-jitsu instructor, and she's like, 7 rings on your finger. I guess there just isn't enough room for that one anymore. And she just leaves.
He's literally the greatest football player ever to play. You can hate him, but he's the greatest football player, the greatest quarterback ever. And that's still like, oh, maybe I can find someone better, the jiu-jitsu guy.
Right. So the conversation for what it seems right now is a lot of guys see this report and they're like, if even Tom Brady is going to get cheated on
Well, it's like
by
when
his
Bill
wife,
Gates-
then what hope is there for the rest of us?
It's like when Bill Gates got divorced and everyone's like, dude lost billions of dollars. If that's not enough, then what the hell is?
Look, the fact of the matter is society tells women if you're not happy, you should leave. And the fact of the matter is if you're not happy, you might just need to have lunch, right? Like it might be that like you're not happy right now, but if you work at your relationship, and again, this is not defending, because the first thing the fucking people say is they're like, oh, well, you're defending, what about people that get beat? Obviously, if you're dealing with abuse, this is totally not the same thing. It's when, oh, I could find a better guy. Oh, maybe he's not. It's when the doubts get into the wife's head, and she's like, well, you know, maybe, and maybe I can find a better, blah, 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 blah. That kind of stuff gets in your head. That kind of stuff is amplified by society today. Used to be where a woman would think that and other women would be like, look, we all think that, it happens, it, you know, blah 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 blah, you should probably stick it out with your relationship, you got kids, you know, if it's not like you're getting beat. But nowadays
it's also like this supermodel who is world renowned for her beauty,
Yeah.
who is now you know, past her prime. She's 43 years old. And there might be a part of her that thinks like getting with a younger guy is going to give her spark back.
Could be.
Which
That
is
could be true.
obviously incredibly naive and selfish and
Sure.
narcissistic, but it seems to be a profile that you see often.
That could be.
The conflicting report here that accuses her says if she wants to have people think that she's been dating Joaquim only since June last year, so be it. But they have been together longer and they aren't taking it slow. Tom has accepted it.
He is now
Should he
with,
accept it?
Are
Like,
they
what do you
divorced
even
now?
do in this situation? Yeah, like they've finalized their divorce last year, I think, or maybe late 2022, right?
Sounds
I think it was late 2022 they finalized the divorce. Since then, everyone was like, she's a witch. She was using her voodoo magic to give Tom Brady success in his athleticism for all these years, and now she's cursed him. And she's putting curses on his career. That's why he retired.
Time for the other guy to enter a jiu-jitsu tournament then.
Right, yeah. And when you look at this guy, he also looks kind of wimpy in comparison to Tom Brady. And it's like, what's going on?
However, as we all know, heartbreak is good for men when it comes to physical activity because Tom Brady, ladies and gentlemen, reruns the 40-yard dash and is faster at 46 than he was at 22.
What a guy.
Solid, common Tom Brady W.
$20 from Not That Jon Stewart. Phil just called women hangry. JK. Well, he wasn't kidding.
It's true.
Yeah.
I see stuff like this, and I understand men get demoralized with things like this, but I don't know if he's now with Bradley Cooper's ex.
Ugh, this
he's
is
with
just-
Irina Shayk or whatever her last name is.
I mean, yeah, from the appearances, it looks like both of them have moved on now. Another $20 from Bender the Offender. There's a study where if men got 80% of what they wanted in a woman, they would consider her a catch, whereas women consider 80% settling.
Interesting.
Well, women are the more selective of the sexes. This is just evolutionarily speaking, this is how women operate.
And that's
She's
the
not
way
being
that it should be
selective
too.
here,
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys get like upset about like the way things are with like the dynamic between women and men and stuff. And it's like, look, getting mad doesn't help. And like MGTOW doesn't help you either. Like you shouldn't end up like throwing your whole life into a woman, but like if a woman, like Jordan Peterson's right when he says if all the women around are like, I don't like you, they're all right. You know, like you should work on yourself.
Also, it should be noted, Tom Brady, being in the top, 0.01% of men is also selecting from a pool of the top 0.01% of women. And those people are not like the rest of society. They don't behave like the rest of society. They are in totally different circumstances. And you shouldn't model your life after them.
You're right, but I do think that like men will select, like the whole idea that men will select across and down and women select across and up, like social and economic status to find mates. I think there's probably like honest like truth to that, right? Does that seem like to make sense to you guys?
Yeah,
I think it does.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
So I mean, that means what I'm saying is Tom Brady could slum it with a 9.5. You know what I mean?
Sure. If you consider Giselle a 9.5.
Well, I'm not saying that she is, but if you're like when you're in the elite and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go with a girl who's not like the elite, but she's still like out of the range of most men, right?
Sure.
You know, then it's still like.
This also, I think this is really sad for the children first and foremost, and everyone's focusing on what this does to Tom Brady or Giselle, and not on the kids, which is sad, because they have now had to accept this new father figure in their lives who is younger than their mom. It says Tom and Joaquim are not friends, but Joaquim is around his kids, so Tom has to find the good in him and does believe he's a good guy. Oh, I guess despite the fact that he blew up your marriage. If Joaquim ever becomes a father figure to his kids, Tom will be able to adapt. That just sounds like an extremely painful situation to be in for everyone involved. And it's unfortunate that everyone is thinking about how their spouse can enhance their life or their status or their happiness, their personal happiness, when that's not what marriage is about. It's not what it's ever been about. Yeah. It's about mutual self-sacrifice and having children. It's not about making deciding this person that I've selected is going to make me happy. It's about me.
If you're not gonna have
Thank you.
If you're not gonna have kids, I understand people that are like, if you're not gonna have kids, maybe you shouldn't get married. Like that makes sense to me as well, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, some married couples also don't have a choice in the matter. Some of them are able to have kids, and
yeah, like I mean, I was married, and like my wife couldn't have kids. That's
Sure.
the reason I don't have kids now. Is not because we weren't trying. It's just that
Sure.
things lined up that way. So.
But yeah, that's it says that Giselle previously shut down rumors that her and the jiu-jitsu instructor were anything more than friends. She said, "He's our teacher, and most importantly, he's a person I admire and trust. It's so good to have that kind of energy and to have my kids around that type of energy." That was back in March last year. That was not that long ago, and allegedly when she was already cheating with this guy.
Yeah.
And the truth is, even if it's true that, she got with this guy 8 months after the divorce, the affair already started in your mind as a possibility before the divorce or before the separation even happened. That's where the cheating really starts, is in your heart, which is, not to Bible thump about it, but that's what the Bible says, is that if you lust after someone in your heart, that is the equivalent of adultery, because that's how one thing leads to another.
Yeah,
and that's why there need to be proper boundaries between men and women, especially married men and women, when they're having friends of the opposite sex.
You shouldn't really have a lot, like, close friends of the opposite sex that you hang out with if you're a married man.
You admire and trust.
What?
I mean, she's saying, like, I admire him and I trust him.
No, that you shouldn't do. Look, I was dating, the last girl that I dated was absolutely wonderful. I got nothing bad to say about her at all. We broke up because I couldn't move to Connecticut. We don't hang out and talk, right? She's got another guy. I respect that, and I'm not popping in to say, "Hey, how you doing? I just want to check in on you." Like maybe like if something actually comes up that's relevant, like if there was something in like the field that she works in or whatever, I might be like, "Hey, what do you know about this? Hope you're good." But I'm not going to just be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Because she's got a husband, and you shouldn't, and she's not going to hit me up either. Like, that's not something you do if you actually want your relationship to work. Like, it's just.
I feel like this should be obvious, but
it's not. It's not at all.
Apparently. And another story.
People will fight. People will fight with you about that. I mean, come on. You've been on the whatever podcast. You've had to fight about whether or not it's a good idea to bone people while you're married.
I mean, the most obtuse objection that I've heard is, if you're a married man who's not capable of having close friendships with other women than your wife, then you don't see women as people. And I'm not even going to get into that because that's so stupid. But I wanted to mention this other story of an extremely emasculated Ben Affleck, because it's been revealed in this documentary that J-Lo is producing, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, which is now being told to everyone, that he had a major ask before getting back together with J-Lo: keeping their relationship off of social media. A demand he didn't win, which that much is obvious by now. So this...
okay, I'm not going to put it on social media. I'm just going to make a whole ass movie about it.
Yeah, sure, we're off social media, as long as it's on Amazon Prime. Which puts their whole relationship under a microscope, which is why his confession is ironic. Ben initially wanted J-Lo to keep their romance under wraps. He explained, "Getting back together, I said, listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media." However, he then realized he wasn't being fair, noting that Jennifer Lopez heavily uses social media and has hundreds of millions of followers. So he said he caved. It's sort of like you're gonna marry a boat captain and you go, "Well, I don't like water." He finished by saying, "We're just two people with different kinds of approaches, trying to learn to compromise." You can really see the compromise on his face when he slams that car door shut on her, when he's out getting his Dunkin' Donuts looking suicidal. You can really see the compromise coming through on his face. Yeah, really sad. Also, he has hundreds of millions of followers too. That has nothing to do with it. It's a completely valid thing to want your relationship not to be blasted all over social media, most especially if you're famous. But for even an ordinary person, that would be a valid thing to expect.
100%. You'd also think that if they made the agreement and she didn't stick to it, that would be like, okay, look, clearly we broke up and divorced before. Maybe we were right the first time. If she can't respect this with me, maybe I need to go ahead and walk away here.
Mostly because they claim the pressure of the paparazzi and the media on their relationship when they first were together was ultimately the reason they broke up. So now you're just going to do that same cycle all over again. For what? So that you can get a movie deal and an album out of it?
Arguably worse now because it's going to be done by them and not by the paparazzi. It's going to feel even more vindictive.
I mean, what it feels like is totally narcissistic. I mean, at least you're not... when the paparazzi are making up stories about you, you don't have control over that, but you are literally just putting as much of the spotlight on yourself as possible at this point.
She did say that she blames a lot of this on her past for having an extremely narcissistic mother and absentee father. So, you know.
So she's got a void that she needs to fill with endless relationships that continue failing.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, let's go super chats.
Gordon Shumway said, when I was in the Army, I knew a guy with a hyphenated name. We called him Two Dads.
Ooh.
LOL. Aardvark said, Phil's audible exasperations and Brett's face palms reacting to the cultural stupidity are why I watch PCC. Took wife to see Fall Out Boy. Was like Hot Topic, threw up over the crowd. Rock on, Phil.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious. How old was the average age there, I wonder?
But it's like Fall Out Boy isn't even like emo anymore or like pop punk anymore.
No, but they're definitely...
The fan base is.
Yeah, the fan base is absolutely. It's like people that are, pushing 40 or in their mid 40s are like, man, I love this.
They're the ones on the emo cruise.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, I thought Bradley Cooper was gay.
Nope.
No, he's with Gigi Hadid.
Yep.
Yeah. Twice her age, by the way. Shane H. Wilder said, days without Germany doing something stupid. 0.
Reset the clock.
Yeah.
Do
I'm
one
not
more.
even sure what they did this time.
It was the pageant.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Bender the Offender said, I swear sometimes it feels like I'm the only person who takes sex seriously. The act can literally create a life. Why wouldn't you take it seriously? Yeah, good question. But no, everything is just for your own personal fulfillment and empowerment now.
Let's hold off on the rest, Mary. It's time you tell everybody what the hell baby girl energy is.
As a Gen Z woman, I naturally am curious about what the sentiment of Gen Z women is. And honestly, I think they're not doing okay. Like, they're definitely not of sound mind. It turns out that Gen Z women have this inexplicable attraction to effeminate, emasculated men with little to no testosterone in their body. And what they're using to describe this is the term baby girl energy. I'm not kidding. They're calling grown-ass, middle-aged men baby girl energy because they have shed themselves of toxic masculinity and they dress up in makeup and skirts and
I have none of that.
They appear very non-threatening. So here is the official definition. And this is from Out. This is a gay magazine. So apparently gay men have also jumped on the bandwagon for this.
I am shocked.
Yeah. They said, when it comes to the internet's taste in men, some people prefer daddies, some prefer himbos, some prefer twinks, and some prefer baby girls. All are valid choices. Here are the hallmarks of the baby girl. A man who is hot and sexy, but not in a threatening or domineering way. He eschews toxic masculinity for sensitivity and understanding. He's got puppy dog eyes and DSLs that could convince you to do anything. Even if he's taller and older than you, you want nothing more than to protect him. Here are 10 of our favorite internet baby girls. They've listed here Jacob Elordi, for instance. Also Timothy Chalamet. That's not a surprise at all. I know that Andrew Garfield is also a popular choice for baby girl energy, as is Pedro Pascal, who is literally...
That's grandpa. That's baby grandma energy.
He's approaching 50. I wouldn't want to call him a baby girl or, baby anything. But yeah, he dresses up in this very effeminate style on red carpets, and he gets lots of fan cams made about him on TikTok, so I understand why he would be on this list. Justice Smith is also on here. Jonathan Bailey, Joe Keery from Stranger Things. But yeah, I also saw a headline that says men's fashion is entering its baby girl era, and we're here for it. And also, what does baby girl mean on TikTok, and what does it have to do with middle-aged men? Apparently, Walter White is another middle-aged man who's getting called a baby girl, and Pedro Pascal specifically as Joel Miller in The Last of Us. So
Yeah.
I don't know what about those characters specifically exudes a baby girl energy, but it basically just means the opposite of masculinity, right?
Yeah, it's what, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of people making all the women scared of men. So then they naturally evolve to supposedly find this attractive. Though we did just talk that story a couple weeks ago where the guy pays for everything and the girl's like, oh my gosh, I could feel the feminism leaving my body.
There are a lot of conflicting messages.
That was the chick that also was complaining about her dad because her dad was a
Yeah.
Same lady.
Bitcoin dude that apparently abandoned her or something.
Man, Bitcoin dude must be doing well right now.
If
Holy
he owns Bitcoin, he's doing quite
and he
well.
was doing well before Bitcoin too.
Every day, I regret not putting more into the last dip when Biden
Well,
got
look,
elected.
the way Bitcoin has worked historically, and I'm not giving you any advice, but the way Bitcoin has worked is when it breaks and it makes an all-time high, it breaks it by like 10 to 20 to 30 times, then falls back down to just around where the all-time high was, and then does the same thing again. So right now it's about to break the all-time high, it looks like. And after that, the blue sky breakout, you don't know where it's going to go. So, buy some, sit on it, see how much it
I
grows.
just dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, that's what I do
But
too.
Definitely when the next dip comes. Let's go.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay, tell me who comes to mind when I say this. A man who is baby girl comes across as sweet, charming, a bit bashful, and in touch with their feminine side, ready to talk about their feelings or carry a purse to brunch at any point. Does that mean his own purse, or is it like, can you carry my purse for me?
My guess is they mean like his own purse.
Great, Merces.
A merce.
Look, I have a big bag that I carry with me everywhere, but I definitely don't have any baby girl energy.
I mean, maybe someone in the chat will beg to differ.
Listen, the chat. There's definitely going to be someone in the chat.
Guys, does Phil have baby girl energy? Does Brett have baby girl energy?
but-
Let us
Allegedly,
know.
Ruckus mentioned MGK.
Yeah, he's kind of
He just comes off as a little bit like crazy.
Femi.
Yeah.
A little bit crazy. Not really feminine, but like nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like office rocker. Pete Davidson as well. They just seem crazy. But when I think of like Timothy Chalamet and Jacob Elordi wearing crop tops and like doing the little pose like this, like a little cheeky pose with their finger in their mouth, I'm thinking baby girl energy would apply to that.
All the emos from 2007 on MySpace.
But at least they were teenagers, right? Like they weren't men in their 40s and 50s.
There's a $20 one here from That Stands Tastic. Says, I thought BuzzFeed and Vice are gone. What are we reading? The Ghosts of the Feed? Also, Phil, have you played Helldivers yet?
I have played Helldivers a little bit. Haven't played with a group of people, and I hear that's where it really excels. It was fun, but I hear when you get together with your friends, it's really a blast.
This is not either of those. I have a New York Post article that was typed up about this. So no, it's not Vice.
It was getting a lot of mainstream coverage, but I was aware of this then when Jacob Elordi went on Jimmy Fallon, and he was wearing this like soft little non-threatening cardigan, and at the end of the show, he did this to the audience. He was making these little heart hands at the audience and smiling. And it was I've never been more repulsed in my life, to be honest. And this is such a lie. They say this is exactly what women want men to become.
Well,
the
you said
antithesis of toxic macho masculinity.
You said that Gen Z likes this, but I would argue that then every other generation doesn't actually like this, even if they pretend that they do.
Well, it all started with hormonal birth control.
We're back on this then, yes.
I mean, look, I've already said this earlier in the week, but yeah, I mean, women are taking a drug that changes their taste in men, and they don't even know that their brains are being controlled by it. Yep. Your body is in a state where it thinks it might be pregnant, and of course, the result would be you're looking for a more nurturing guy, one who's less aggressive and is capable of protecting you, staying loyal to you. He's able to care for a child, things like that. But now women are walking around in this state of phantom pregnancy, and we're wondering why are men trying to be less masculine these days?
Also, on the macro scale, like, we just live in a country that doesn't put them at extreme risk every day, or at least the media pretends like there's nothing that's putting them at risk every single day when you go out in the world. So when you live a life with a lack of struggle, you don't really seem to value the energy that actual masculinity can provide, you know, the things that actual masculinity can provide you as a woman. So
You never heard anything positive about masculinity in your life. It's also bleak out there because there's such a short supply of testosterone and actual masculine men that this is kind of a cope, right? Like, oh, I don't actually want that. But it's only because it's really not on the market anymore, because these dudes in their 20s or even in their teens have the same testosterone levels as their great-grandfathers.
I don't believe that women don't want that. I believe they say they don't want that. And I believe that part of the I believe part of the reason why women say they don't want that, then get married, then end up divorcing, is because that they are conditioned to think they want something. They think that the things that they want can be provided by government sometimes, or provided by someone else, and really what they're looking for is a family. Like, that's the kind of thing that tends to make people happy. I think the idea of going out and working really doesn't make most people happy, so why would it make women happy, you know?
Right,
So.
like the lie, at least of like 80s feminism, was your career should be the most important thing to you, and your career isn't even the most important thing to you if you're a man.
Well, and it would have been a fundamental lie that the man was fulfilled by his career, in so much as that what was actually true is that he was fulfilled by his career because it allowed him to provide to the people he loved. Even if we were talking about a time where men were more emotionally distant, doesn't mean they didn't actually feel something strongly for their family. There was just social conditioning that allowed them to display that a certain way, and the number one way to do that would be to go to work every day and provide for them and make sure that they're taken care of.
And also, there are people that talk about, like, people talk about, oh, you know, I like men that share their feelings, blah 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 blah. Women say that, but then as soon as a guy does, or when dudes do it too much, then the man starts coming across as not reliable, as he can't take care of my emotions because he can't take care of his own, and it becomes a thing where she's gonna feel like, oh, I'm gonna have to take care of this guy. That is not something that anyone wants. Nobody wants to feel like they have to take care of this other person and they're not gonna be able to take care of them. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is. I really think that most of this stuff is just lies told to people, and then young people end up believing it because it seems like society just reinforces it entirely, constantly, all the time now.
From your perspectives as men, do you think it's possible for a man to have an excess level of masculinity?
No, it is only a possibility to have not enough self-control. So masculinity is something that needs to be moderated and controlled,
kept in check.
Yeah,
like Jordan,
self-discipline seems like a hallmark of masculinity.
100%. Well, maybe.
Like
okay,
what
fine
Jordan
enough.
Peterson
Fair enough.
would say it's not about not being able to hurt someone. It's about being able to hurt someone, but controlling the ability to do so.
Self-control and discipline are prerequisites to being masculine, I think. And if you don't have them, then you don't control your emotions, and not controlling your emotions, honestly, is feminine.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to control yourself. You have to have discipline if you're going to be masculine. The stoicism, kind of like unmoving, not emotional, what that ends up doing for a family is that gives a family a point of reference. Dad's the stoic. Dad's not freaking out. I don't have to freak out. Or I can freak out and Dad'll take care of it. It offers safety. It offers a stoic father that or a stoic, father that is a, considered the rock for the family. And this is, I'm an agnostic guy. I'm not a dude that's saying that this is what God says or blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand there are people that believe that. Personally, I don't think that it is. But it doesn't change the fact that most of the time the Christians are right about a ton of shit. Right? Like the father that's kind of leading the family, that is fairly stoic, that is reasonable, that is calm, that makes it okay for the rest of the family to be themselves. When you have a leader that is not reliable, that's not stoic, that's emotionally up and down, blah, 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 nobody feels safe, and it just adds to chaos to your family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're kind of living in a society where femininity has run rampant.
100%.
And that's not being held in moderation.
100%. The reason why we have a spastic society and stuff like that is
hysteria.
Yeah, it's hysterical. It's like we don't have good masculine figures that can be moderate and calm, and we're allowing hysterical people to dictate the conversation, the national political conversation, and to dictate what's going to happen. There is no reason for us to have freaked out about the whole bathroom thing the way we did. Like when trans people, it's like for some reason trans people just showed up, which they didn't. They'd been in society for ages, but for some reason that just became a thing, and that was because we were being forced to like whiplash, go from the current thing to the current thing to the current thing. And if you had a more masculine, reasoned, calm kind of society, I think you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have people like whiplashing all over the place.
Yeah. I think these days people just discount how primal they are just because we have laptops and we have phones and we have air conditioning and we have running water. We're all different and we are so developed past even just 100 years ago.
Yeah,
we don't have to prescribe to all of these former norms, but in reality, our lizard brains are controlling a lot of our decision making.
90% of it. The elephant is in charge. Most of the time, the rider is just making up excuses for what the elephant wants to do.
It's like people talking about how they think that we've evolved past war, but they never see life outside of the United States, where war is a common occurrence everywhere.
Well, I saw this wonderful GIF before, and it was just I don't know what kind of monkeys they were, but they were monkeys fighting, and it literally just said, "War existed before man. It was there waiting for man, and man has perfected war, but war will be there after man has been destroyed." Yep. War is the struggle is existence. Every bit of life has to struggle to exist. So war is part of the human condition.
All right, let's go to Super Chats and we'll hang out.
All right, Mikey said, sadly, I don't believe this is fake. Oh, I already read that one. Corey Anderson said, the OF harlot is disgusting. Her kid will be a soy boy.
Again, it'd be interesting if somebody can give me like the proof and find out whether that video is fake or real or not. I'd find it interesting to talk about. The line between satire and reality now is so blurred that it almost doesn't even matter.
It made me so
about
angry.
how it's more about how you perceive it than anything. It says more about society.
Shane H. Wilder said, why does OF chick sound like a Wookiee? That was my first thought as well.
Another reason to think that it's fake.
Corey Anderson said Meghan Markle is a
Seward?
Do you mean a C word? Is that what it is?
I have no idea.
Oh my goodness, said P. Diddy the booty warrior.
P. Diddler.
Lord of the Kinos said Mary's John Mayer take is easily her worst take.
What is your John Mayer take?
What John Mayer take?
And when was this?
I've never had a take on John Mayer in my entire life. He doesn't cross my mind.
He's a great guitar player.
I don't know. Please remind me what I said, because I have no idea. Shane H. Wilder said, if you're not happy, you might just need to have lunch. Phil Labonte 2024. There you go. It's solid advice.
It's true.
So not that John Stewart said J-Lo must give the best taco kisses ever.
Taco.
Corey Anderson said, the word is androgynous. Stop renaming things. The youth are dumb.
In reference to what? In reference to
baby girl energy.
I mean, I didn't find that to be androgynous, really, at all. I found it to be unbelievably
It's leaning in that direction.
Yeah,
it's not entirely like that. That Stansatastic said, I thought BuzzFeed and Vice...
We did that one.
Oh, okay. Shane H. Wilder said, can we just ban birth control and fix all this? Yeah, I really wish we could, but we'll have to wait until Mary's in charge. So, Marcos said, hey, it's almost Friday.
It is almost Friday.
Big dog.
Big dog.
It's your moment.
Yep.
Sorenko Productions said the OF mom had them SSR eyes. For real. She did.
Her eyes were looking glassy and a little bit vacant. Just a little bit.
Mine do too. I'm not on SSR eyes.
And then let's just hang out. I want to see what the chat has to say. I saw a couple of interesting things going on in the chat earlier. They were debating the hotness level of Gisele Bündchen.
Oh.
And
a Victoria's Secret supermodel.
Yeah, they were. They absolutely were.
How intriguing.
Yep.
Well, what were they saying?
Mid.
Yeah.
Got
of course they were.
It's
the Margot Robbie.
Yes, it's another
Again,
day that ends
she's
in Y,
mid.
in which a celebrity, a very, very attractive woman, is called mid by by a bunch of.
Well, also, like, when she became a Victoria's Secret model, beauty standards were different. Body standards were different for those models. They've been made fun of in the current day because they don't have the trendy body type, which is like this dramatic hourglass Kim Kardashian thing.
So the style is just
tall,
changed.
leggy, straight up and down.
I can't stand the comic book not comic book. I take it back, because comic book characters like superheroes are drawn less dramatic than like the way that women are getting their bodies modified nowadays. Like they're going to town. Like Kim Kardashian's, like her proportions, that is ridiculous. Now, she does actually look better now that she's lost weight, but when she was like at her maximum, like accentuated
Turbo
hourglass,
BBL mode.
yeah, you know, it just looks ridiculous and terrible in my opinion. And that was the thing for a long time. I understand there are a lot of people that are going to have a problem with heroin chic, but that was better than you know. I'm trying to be a porn star, you know. Yeah. And not even like the good porn stars. They're trying to look like the ridiculous, like everything's so exaggerated that it's a cartoon, you know.
You can't achieve that without looking like you're just wearing a diaper.
No.
Ethan Miller said, "We built our current society to curb the worst of men. What do we need to build to curb the worst of women? We called easy ladies Wookiees in the USMC."
The Wookiees. Yeah.
What do you do to curb the worst in women?
Well, you need strong men.
Yeah.
That's really what you need. I can't come up with a better solution than that.
You also need a society that's willing to be open and honest that exists. I was telling Mary a story earlier about watching this show called Third Watch, which I've started. And in one of the first episodes, there's a scene where this cop, played by Kobe Bell, it's like his first week on the job, and he basically gets told, well, there's a rape victim in exam room 1, and he goes in there, and it's a small girl. She's very young, and he leaves, and he comes back to this nurse, and he says, "You must have given me. I must have heard you wrong. It must be another exam room." And she goes, "No, that was right." And they find out that it was the husband that did it, or the father that did it, and the wife was hurt as well. And society was willing to tell those stories. That the character goes on and beats the crap out of this dad. That's society being willing to shine a light on something that's actually a problem in society. Well, we were just talking about this story the other day about the trans woman who's in a prison cell with a biological woman, and this woman is basically writing letters to her husband on the outside, terrified, saying like he masturbates in the cell and he makes crude comments all the time. There will never be a society in the West that will be willing to openly and honestly critique that. And if you're going to find a way as a society to, you will need strong men, but you also need aspects of the rest of the society that shares things with one another, i.e. the media. They have to be willing to critique that. And they're not willing to critique women the same way they're willing to critique men.
Just like a $20 from Francisco Sanchez Jr. He said this year's baby girl energy was metrosexual 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Metrosexual is like before a decade ago, right? That was like
metrosexual was like late 90s, early aughts, right? It was late 90s, because that's when I worked at Structure. I worked at places that was like
what is that?
Structure. It's now, I think it's Express for Men, but it was I think it was bought by Express, but Structure used to be like Metro, like it was considered metrosexual clothing for guys, and it was like the late 90s, early aughts, like right before I quit to start touring and stuff. And it was not the same. It was still guys, because nowadays the androgyny and the LGBT influence, essentially what it is undeniable. Yeah. Back in the late 90s, early aughts, it wasn't trying to be feminine. It wasn't trying to be less masculine. It was trying to look clean. It was way more, you're trying to look like Patrick Bateman than you're trying to look like one of the girls he killed.
Yeah.
And it was, because it was definitely a real, like, it was, dudes were trying to look good and they wanted to look clean and put together, but it wasn't trying to be feminine. It was not trying to be like, I actually want to be a woman. Nowadays, there's a whole lot of gender bending that goes along and stuff, and it's far beyond fashion. It's more of a social statement or
Yeah,
In
like
the-
a guy who was called metrosexual in 2004. He wasn't wearing crop tops. He wasn't
Yeah.
wearing makeup. That type of thing.
And nowadays he would probably they would probably use different pronouns.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Right.
In the chat, someone said we were talking about women. I'm just saying that women and in various aspects of the LGBTQ movement aren't going to be criticized by the media the same way that men will be.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like I watched some of these old shows that have these great storylines that are so devoid of political correctness, and I miss the idea that you could do that with all aspects of the culture. They're just not willing to do
This
that.
is
now.
literally why you had such a stagnation of creativity in like the Soviet Union and all of the communist countries. Like you couldn't make jokes and you couldn't think things because you weren't allowed to say things that were politically incorrect. You could literally go to jail. And now they're doing that in Canada.
Bucky Ducky said, Phil, you need to find a group for Helldivers. It's a totally different game when you got 3 of your mates throwing eagle airstrikes on your feet.
Yeah, I hear that. I know. I gotta next week. I can't even like really get into it for at least like 3 weeks. I got L.A. and then L.A. for 2 weeks. Anyways, I know. I got it.
Somebody says Hiroshima Utaru says Brett, the TikTok mom does have an OF. And kids, her handle is I'm.over.covid. I'm not going to look that up just in case it's...
Okay, yeah.
But
no, I believed it was real just because she wouldn't come out and say the word OnlyFans on the video.
I err on the side of everything being fake now.
It's easier to think it's fake then.
Always fake.
Cobra Commander upset, you guys might have heard of these things called seasons. We're all pretty in youth. We lose our foliage, wither, and die. Hot is temporary, face it. Yeah,
Yes.
that is true.
Not me. I'm going to stay young looking forever, except for I don't look
What's your
young.
secret? Adrenochrome?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Drink water. Go to the gym.
Sir MIB said, Casablanca is a good movie. Why can't movies be like Casablanca today?
They will not make those movies because they won't make any money today.
Why wouldn't they make money today?
Because attention spans are at an all-time low, and it costs $8 gazillion.
But Dune 2 is almost 3 hours long.
It costs $8 gazillion to go to the theater, so you're going for spectacle more than story.
That's a good point.
Look, the great thing about Dune, when I was watching it the other night, one of the reasons I think it's so awesome is like there is this grand scale to everything. If it is not a dialogue scene in which the scenes are shot in like a medium or close format, right, with other people, all of the shots in the movie are these broad, sweeping landscapes that really lend an air of stake to what you're watching, and that's what you go to the theater for. And Denis Villeneuve just did a whole thing where, and a lot of people disagree with him, to be fair, where he says like television shows ruined movies because now it's all about dialogue. He goes, I don't make movies to have just endless dialogue. I make movies for scale and these beautiful shots, and dialogue's important, but it's not the only thing that matters, right? And nowadays, when you go to the theater and it costs you $100 just to go to the movies, you don't want to go there to watch a 3-hour talkathon that's going to look just like the same thing that you could watch on Netflix. Mm-hmm. You want to go and see something bigger than that.
Sure. Pat the Plumber said, have any of you watched C on Apple TV? The premise and filming are awesome. Jason Momoa plays my favorite all-time television characters.
I've heard good things about that show, but I haven't. Look, I refuse to get Apple TV on principle. I'm not doing that. Maybe if I ever return to the pirate life, I'll check out C. But I'm not going to watch Apple TV.
The Manic Mustache said, my father was the foundation of our family. I'm 40, and he's only told me that he was proud of me twice, and I love you 6 times. I wouldn't have had it any other way.
I can tell this story. Yes. Yeah. So I did not. You know, my father is still alive. Love my dad. He's a great guy. But I still remember when we like tried to make a concerted effort to like say, because I moved out of state, but also like we just didn't see each other as much, and say I love you on the phone. And to me, still just a little bit weird to this day. It's not emblematic of anything other than it's just not something that was needed to be said when we were younger. It was something I said to my mom, but it was almost like it's almost deeper. Like it didn't need to be said with my dad.
Possibly. I think a woman would feel way differently about this.
Yeah.
About having a
Absolutely.
father who behaves this way. And then it would turn into, you know, why do you relate to, like, I don't know. If you only tell one of your children that you love them, then it turns into something else, and Yeah, I don't think this is. I don't think that a daughter would feel this way.
I used to tell my dad I love him all the time. It was very normal.
Normal in my family as well. In fact, when we were like, when me and my brothers were like in a fight or like mad at each other, we would be forced to apologize and forced to say I love you.
That would just make me really angry.
That makes
Well,
sense
you get
too.
over it, and it teaches you a lesson.
When we got in trouble, I had to like sit on the couch until I could give you like some type of great explanation as to why I was wrong and the mistake that I made. Not exactly a recipe for sincerity, but it did teach you a certain amount of discipline eventually.
Sure. Yeah. Make you a good liar.
Oh, my dad is a great guy. So he did a really good job, I think, of raising two kids to be as responsible as possible. I certainly made more mistakes, but the mistakes I made were after I moved out of the house. For the most part, I was given a lot of leeway when I was in high school and stuff like that because I didn't get in trouble and I didn't cause problems and I wasn't out partying. I was out skating all the time. So I was allowed to kind of behave as I wanted, as I saw fit, because I didn't give them a reason to worry about me.
Mm-hmm. Charlene Ferguson said, what is your favorite kind of cheese? I add the U in favorite because I'm Canadian. We love random U's. Cheers. Frostback. Okay, favorite cheese?
Yeah. Cheddar.
American.
I don't have a favorite type of cheese.
I'm a true patriot. American.
Whatever that weird stuff is in Taco Bell.
That stuff that's supposedly
It's
cheese.
not cheese, but it looks like cheese. Yep. Shane H. Wilder said, okay, Mary, I'll... Wait, what?
The Catholic slack.
The Catholic slack about your impending takeover.
I love the idea that the Vatican has a Vatican slack.
They've got to have something, right?
Like, and then there's just like, there's a Pope subgroup where just his top advisors
If I
are in
had
there.
to guess, I would think they use Signal.
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir MIB said, this gen should watch Seven Samurai as punishment.
Or like watching Kurosawa would help a lot, but I think that most just aren't gonna have the attention span. I don't have the attention span anymore. I was actually really surprised when I was watching Dune, because I wanted to get caught up on Dune again before I went and saw it, like how like enamored I was with most of it. Like most of the time when I'm watching a movie or a TV show, there's a pretty good split between how much of my time is spent actually looking at the screen and how much of the time is actually spent on my phone. Right, especially when it's a rewatch. If it's something new, I'm pretty good about keeping my phone away. But if it's a rewatch, I'm looking up Twitter or something a decent amount. I wasn't really doing that last night.
It's got to be good to keep me off my phone.
Yep, it's got to be really good.
Username I'm not going to read said, I always tell my dad I love him after I see him. I never got to tell my mom one more time before she passed. Always tell your parents you love them. You never know when it'll be the last time.
That is absolutely
Wasn't expecting
true.
that sincerity from someone with your username, but thank you for that.
That is absolutely true. And it's weird too, because I never thought about that stuff. I had a lot of years where like when my mom got sick and I moved back in with her to take care of her, I just didn't and I was working so much and I was traveling for skating whenever I could. I just wasn't seeing my dad as much. And then when we got kind of reconnected years later, it's not like we didn't see each other. I'd see him at holidays or once in a while, but we weren't really super close. So it's good, right? Make up for lost time and let your parents know that you love them. Mm-hmm. It's important. Yeah, and wait, what this one says? There's a couple here that we should discuss. So it says pepper jack. Ugh.
Ew.
I don't mind
thank
pepper
you.
jack.
Ugh.
Just on its own is a no.
No, thank you. Not a huge fan.
Certain sandwiches, it's really good.
I like Swiss. I have no problem with Swiss cheese either. It's also good. Yeah, chat. I just wanted to see how everyone was there. I love it when they have their own conversations, which is why somebody else says, why is that username bad? Definitely not a Fed says, why is that username bad, Mary?
Definitely not a Fed. That's the username.
That's the name of the username.
Well, there are certain words you shouldn't say on YouTube. That's the thing.
I didn't know that word was bad.
Well, it is a slur, right?
Is it? I mean, is it? I didn't know that.
And I'd rather not be on video saying it.
Yeah, okay. I think I said it once when you were gone.
Yeah. Well, if you want to be recorded saying it, that's none of my business.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want, King.
It happens.
You make your choice.
I can't wait for the video to inevitably come back later and come back to bite me, or whatever's going to come back
deposition?
to bite you later. When the inevitable Timcast's deposition comes down and we have to go in front of Congress to talk about our actions, that's what will end up happening. That's going to be a great day, though. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Can't wait.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Nancy Pelosi probably won't be in office anymore she's still around. Nancy Pelosi.
She's still alive.
Mitch McConnell is leaving, right?
Yes, McConnell is leaving. I think Pelosi's going to. This is her last one.
Like her last.
She mentioned
term?
that she didn't want to be in the House when she's well into her 80s. I think she's going to go ahead and vamoose pretty soon.
She could be the unknown.
Yeah. Or she needs to go fix her marriage problems.
Tacty Platty says, Brett, pepper jack cheese on the spicy chicken sandwich from Sheetz. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely slaps.
Yeah.
I get the chicken tenders from Sheetz. I don't get the chicken
You
sandwich.
get everything from Sheetz.
Yes.
Like, what do you not get from Sheetz?
Yo, the
Where do you
steak
draw
sandwich?
the line?
I don't get the burrito.
The steak sandwich at Cheese is
I've
great.
never had the steak sandwich. I actually don't get everything. I get just a very specific couple of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then meatball sub.
And the meatball sub.
Meatball sub sounds great.
It was good.
It's hard to mess up a meatball sub, honestly.
Well, they make tacos that are an absolute abomination.
They're-
I can't
they're not
believe
even
that you've gotten
tacos.
them
Of course they
multiple
do.
times.
I love them.
Yeah.
I've learned to love them, I should say. But know what it is? I also haven't been to Taco Bell or a taco truck or any actual like acceptable taco place recently. So it's like by comparison, I don't have like a recent comparison. I'll have to make some homemade ones.
How recent is recently?
I haven't been to Taco Bell in like, I don't know, months.
Cringe.
I said,
Organized Business Services said, took my advice, Brett. Tom Brady, sick of Taylor Swift. Thanks. Well, we were talking about Tom Brady, but we weren't exactly talking about sports. You know,
Sprats.
that would
Close
be
enough.
a stretch.
I have no problem with the now I'm being made fun of for the tacos in the chat.
For buying Sheetz tacos?
buying
Yeah,
Sheetz
you
tacos.
should be made fun of for that. That is a crime.
Crime.
They are
Your ears perk up.
they are disgusting looking.
They're disgusting looking, and they're just disgusting.
Yeah.
Like if they were just disgusting looking, then I wouldn't have a problem with it.
The funny part is like the last time I got because I get them with like nothing. I literally get just the meat, the cheese, and taco sauce. They didn't even give me taco sauce.
Ew. Like barely passes as food.
Like every bite, you're like kind of like a tear comes out as you're taking a bite as you sadly.
Your
eat
body
food.
is just like going into panic mode.
Yep. I don't know. Well, what should I get at Sheetz then? Like, is there something that I'm missing out on that I?
Steak sandwich. Excuse me, steak sandwich.
Okay.
I usually just get like a breakfast sandwich there, like with the waffle as the bread.
I've had steak sandwiches from Sheetz delivered via DoorDash to my house.
That's
how
a
much I
lot.
like it.
The I don't think I've had anything like out here. It's so hard to get DoorDash out in this area.
Yeah,
Like nothing comes out here.
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's the same way in New Hampshire.
I've had an easier time getting groceries delivered, but have since like a couple years ago, like you could just use what's
You got a vehicle.
I didn't before. Like
I know,
so
but
Shipped would deliver groceries,
Ah.
so you get just about anything from the grocery store. But the delivery options from DoorDash were like very, very minimal. Organized Business Services says, yeah, Nancy, that made $300 million insider trading the SM.
I don't know what that means.
Also, did you see that Mr. Beast made like a very, very tepid critique of her
deleted
very,
it.
very perfect trading record, and he pulled it down.
I am ashamed of you, Mr. Beast.
Pressure got too much for him to handle.
I mean, and the thing is, that is such an unobjectionable.
Yep.
Every single American can kind of agree. Take, hey, Congress shouldn't trade stocks
At all
because they have the power to affect the economy. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to trade stocks when legislation that you may
Nor
pass.
spouses.
Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to, like, when legislation that you may have to vote on might affect those stocks. That is plainly obvious, and he still took it down.
Perturbed Alpaca says, cheese 2 cents. Provolone is my favorite cheese to eat by itself. Add some prosciutto, some pesto on sourdough, and you've a small slice of heaven.
Also, not that Jon Stewart. I don't know how to pronounce that type of cheese.
Where is it? I can't see it.
Is it Moinster?
Munster
cheese? Okay.
Yep.
Cobra Commander said, notice how much more fun the show is when we aren't obsessing over everyone else's sex lives on Twitter. Weird. Social media equals unhappiness.
I don't disagree with you about the social media equals unhappiness part in a lot of ways.
So this is about the OnlyFans chick?
I mean, or Tom Brady or any of that stuff. You know, it is what it is. People, here's the thing though. There is a fascination for a lot of the public with those types of stories. It's just the fact of the matter.
Sex and gender is really the only thing that actually matters to people.
Oh, I don't know about that. You're saying on a macro scale?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that people care about. People do love their careers. People do love their hobbies and things like that.
Most things that are important to people these days, it really boils down to that.
I think that could be a
to
bit
relationships and sex and gender.
I think that could be a little bit we cover it a lot, so it feels that way. But there are plenty of people who don't live in this space that probably don't think that way at all. Like they just maybe it matters to them, but just not at that scale because they don't think about it every day.
I mean, I guess they don't consciously think about it as much as it does affect them. But yeah.
Somebody finally mentioned mozzarella. I noticed that nobody mentioned mozzarella earlier. You'd think that would get more love.
Yeah, that is the best one now that I think about it.
Yeah. I just said American because that's what I always get on everything when I get stuff at the store.
Would you get pizza with American cheese on it?
No. No, but I don't.
Are
think
you
that's an
above
option.
anything?
No, my dad used to when we used to get the frozen pizzas. My dad, because pepperoni and green olive is my favorite pizza, which I'm very sad to see. Recently, they've removed green olive as an option from a lot of these places, which is just wrong.
I thought you were gonna say Sheets for a second.
No.
Going to throw something at you.
What we would do is we would put. So he would get pepperoni, pizzas at home, and then put green olives and then more cheese on top, but he'd put cheddar on top of the cheese that's already on there. So it'd be 2 types of cheese and then extra green olives for something that didn't actually come that way for oven baked pizza, which I always really, really like. Now people are saying, ew. No, it was delicious. It was part of my childhood. Leave it alone.
Organized Business Services said, see, if I trade by insider trading, we get 10 years. It's not fair.
Funny how that works. It's not a crime when they do it.
And every single solitary American, average American person would be like, yes, we agree.
Yep.
Yeah. And it'll never happen either.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they talk about term limits. But I'm also really over the performative bills and things that they're trying to somebody's who was it recently? Was it introduced the bill about eliminating the Department of Education?
Yeah, Thomas Massey.
It was Massey, right?
Yeah.
Which is just never going to happen. And
I completely and totally disagree about that one because if
you think that
is,
could happen?
Oh, absolutely, because there is no federal agency that has a more obvious and clear record of failure. Every single year since the inception of the Department of Education, they've increased funding, and every single year since the Department of Education, test scores have come out lower and lower and lower. Every single year since 1979. Every single year.
Our government, is there a strong record of our government actually taking those type of statistics into account when it comes to cutting programs?
No, but if there is anything that can be cut, it will be something like that. Something that you can actually demonstrate is failing, because that everyone sees clearly that kids are getting out of school and they know less and less, and they don't know how to do things. They're having a more difficult time functioning in society. The socialization that is supposed to come along with schools, a lot of times the only time someone sees violence in their life is in schools, physical violence, I mean. All of the things that public schools are supposed to do, they're failing at miserably. And the only way that anyone has ever been able to, or anyone has been able to come up with a solution that fixes it has been to privatize it. Anything you do that is, as long as it's a government entity, the money's going to be sucked up. The vast majority of it's going to be sucked up by unions and by special interests, and it's not going to get any better as long as the federal government's in charge of it. I am extremely passionate about getting rid of the Department of Education, because I think the Department of Education is the root cause of a vast number of our problems, because that is where the government tells injects feminism into kids' heads, injects leftism, injects progressivism, injects all of this stuff into kids' heads through the Department of Education.
Isn't that more of a reason to believe that they'll never get rid of it, no matter how bad the scores get?
It means that it is valuable to them, but that only means it is more of an imperative to destroy it. So the idea that you shouldn't try, or that because it's difficult you shouldn't try, I totally reject that, because it needs to die.
Well, that means there are tons of great arguments for getting rid of the Department of Education. Yes. That doesn't increase the likelihood of it happening.
That does not. Well, okay.
There are plenty of great arguments for it. But it's not. I think what Brett's trying to say is that'll just never happen.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the idea that you can just be like, oh, well, it's never going to happen. That's just like giving up without trying. Then like you just, I mean,
trying is nice.
If the thing is, if that's your attitude, you might as well just kill yourself. Like,
wow.
because the thing is, like, it's like, oh, it's not worth it. It's not worth trying.
Wish we had a delay button.
Hold
right
on,
now.
guys.
Well, the point is, like, it's like, oh, well, nothing is worth trying. That's the whole. It's the whole cynical.
It's like
he mentioned Minecraft.
It's like running for office when you know you're not going to win, because it's about moving the culture in a certain direction.
Yeah, it's
or
like
because it's about getting campaign funds and then misusing them.
Well, but the thing is that the point that I'm making is you can't have a nihilistic perspective about things, especially when it comes to society, because what has gotten us here is a nihilistic perspective.
Twisted Jack says apathy punks. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm the apathy punk. I mean, it was like when I remember who was like, I'm going to get rid of the FBI. I'm like, dude, no, you're not. You're not going to get rid of the FBI. I think it was Vivek who said that too. He's like, I would move to remove the FBI. I'm like,
all of these things, all of this stuff should not be just disregarded, because you don't get anything done just by saying blah blah blah. And it's fine if that's the way you feel, great. But this is also a reason why not everyone should vote.
We've got one last super chat before we sign off. Yep. Carnell said, I'm willing to bet that Mary's favorite cheese is Panera Bread's mac and cheese. Well, that's not cheese, but I do like it. So you're right.
All right. Before we go, guys, hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Just a heads up, there will be a review for Dune out on Saturday, I believe. I'm going to try to film it closer to probably either after the show tomorrow or right before the show, because I want Camelot to be able to be in the review. It's going to be a lot of fun. Phil, let everyone know they can find you.
Hi, I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, the internet. And don't forget, the left lane is for crime.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix, at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. I ended the poll, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like most people believe that where is Kate Middleton? Well, she's out plotting against Meghan Markle. We have no idea what that means. She could be plotting anything against Meghan Markle. But she, at the Willy Wonka experience, got a 27%. So that's not bad. All right, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.